What's good YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Lifestyle and Conditioning. Milo Wolf's claim about strength and size training is completely wrong, and here are some reasons why. Milo's claim is that you cannot build your best physique and your best strength at the same time. This is just not correct, especially as a natural lifter, because your ability to develop muscle mass highly correlates with your strength levels, and not necessarily your 1 repetition maximum. 1 repetition maximums and even 3 RMs are highly skill dependent. So you cannot really use those necessarily. But Milo Wolf's essentially science-based that all studies point to, as long as you're doing reps close to failure, anything from 5 to 30 reps will produce similar growth response. So if you want to be strong, but you also want to look your best, on compound movements, you can actually do sets of 5 and you will still develop your best strength. You're not going to develop your absolute peak strength that you would if you're practicing 1 repetition maximums, because that's a skill. But if you build a lot of your strength and your base with 5 rep sets on deadlifts, squats, bench, and overhead presses, if you were to transition over to 1 rep sets or single sets, we call it in strength sport, you wouldn't need a lot of time before you would actually be primed to actually extract maximum strength. You would actually need a month, maybe 2 at best, and then you'll actually have to be able to extract your peak strength, because peak strength is highly neurological and highly skill dependent. So you can absolutely build both at the same time as a natural lifter. If you're enhanced, then no. Another reason why he is wrong: if you're going to do bench press of 5 reps, that's going to be a high percentage of your 1 rep max. But in order to be as strong, as stable in those exercises as well, you actually have to train the smaller muscle groups. You're still going to have to isolate your triceps and your shoulders, and to a degree also your chest. You're just going to have to. So you're going to have to actually develop those areas in some sort of isolated fashion. So you actually have to target them and make them bigger, and by extent enhance your physique. So you will, as a natural lifter, we can use Alex Leonidas as an example. The dude has a ridiculous physique and he's ridiculously strong, and he actually trains in the exact way of, he trains his compound movements and then he trains more isolated base afterwards. And he even have days where he may even do isolation work. He develops the smaller muscle areas that can and will help him in these maximum lifts. So you can actually do both at the same time. So this is the reason why he's just completely flat out wrong. It's a different ball game if you're blasting anabolics, because your muscles will actually get stronger a lot faster compared to your joint and tendons. But as a natural lifter, it's completely false. And Milo Wolf also claims that compound movements is not time efficient. And to that, I will flat out disagree. He says it's not time efficient because you have to load all the plates on it and you have to do your warm-up sets. Well, if you're strong enough, even with dumbbells or with cables or anything else, you're still going to have to do a fair amount of warm-up sets anyway. So it's not going to be any less time efficient versus really anything else. All you need to really do is do your sets of 5s on your compound based movements, and then you can do higher rep work on your smaller isolation work, and then you can actually develop your best physique, and you can also develop your best strengths possible. The strength difference that you will have compared to doing 5s versus just doing singles isn't going to be all that dramatically different. Again, because singles are highly skill efficient and 5s are somewhat skill efficient, but not necessarily. 5s is the sweet spot where it's strength, but not fully, but it's also targets your muscles quite heavily in terms of just making them work and making them grow. Whereas singles, you're not going to get any growth response from doing singles, unless you're going to do like 30 singles on bench press per workout. But then there's going to be wear and tear and CNS fatigue and all sorts of other things. That's going to be a problem. So you can absolutely do it. If you do your 5s on your big movements and then do high rep when isolation works, you can get the best of both worlds. Thank you for watching. Lasting conditioning, signing out.